Welcome to the difference between ChatGPT and Creatrix, or all large learning language models and AI and Creatrix. The main difference is that Creatrix is trained on real-time data from real people. It's ever-changing. The data pool is fresh, whereas a large learning language model is trained on a summation of pre-existing data. So the assumptions are generalized. They're based on pre-existing best practices, and the world is changing all the time. ChatGPT and large learning language models and that kind of AI assumes what people want, whereas Creatrix doesn't assume, it just asks your audience. Creatrix does have an AI component, but that's only on the tail end. That's after our data has been scraped, passed through multiple APIs, and sorted out through our software. Then when we have exactly what we want, we're taking that micro data set and running that through a large learning language model, basically to finish the sentences. But it's not thinking, because AI does not strategize or think very well. The results you get from AI depend on how good your question is and what your premise is or what your thesis is. Creatrix has all of that built into the software, so the result is superior. But the easiest way to see this is, let me just show you. So sticking with the brand that I just did for the product demo video of Creatrix for newbies, we're going to use Diptyque, which is a really gorgeous luxury candle brand. So here we have the brand, absolutely gorgeous. And now I'm going to go over to ChatGPT and I'm going to say, write me a creative strategy for Diptyque. Okay, take that out, Diptyque, and go. So now it's going to do it. So it's going to give me a brand context. It's going to tell me a challenge. It's going to tell me sent as story. Okay, social and digital activation, memory mapping. He has a concept. You should do a workshop of dreams. We should do experimental activation. All right, we should do a My Diptyque story, the fragrance codex. I mean, okay, and this is what we should do. All right, cool. But like, says who? Says ChatGPT. What is this based on? These ideas would sound good to a novice because they're big words and like it seems like they make sense because it's in a structured format that sounds professional, but it's based on total assumption. Where are these insights coming from? Now, we could rely on ChatGPT or we could ask Diptyque consumers. So let's do that. And you'll see in Creatrix, what I have to do here is when I put in the URL and change the dates, the time frame is going to affect the output. So if you're looking at what's worked best in over a year, you're going to have a different strategy as compared to what worked best within the last 3 months or month. So this changes, and you can really get a nuanced understanding of what works over time by running different time frames of audits. But so for this case, let's just stick with the last, like almost just over 3 or 4 months from October. And we're going to begin the audit. Now, I've just run this on Creatrix for newbies, so I'm actually going to go into our saved projects for this. And we've already got the top and the lowest posts of what works and what absolutely doesn't work. So let's go to our creative strategy and quite simply compare what Creatrix is saying to what ChatGPT is saying. Okay, so I've taken the creative strategy from Creatrix, the creative strategy from ChatGPT. I've popped it onto a Word document. We're going to take a look in real life. Before we do though, if you didn't know anything about creative strategy, you might think that ChatGPT knows what it's talking about. Except ChatGPT is artificial intelligence. It's assumption. It's made up. And Creatrix is audience intelligence. These are real people who have told you what they really feel, and based on what they love the most about Diptyque, a creative strategy has been generated. And this creative strategy has also been coded and customized based on the strategist who implements these into how they want that to be formatted and what specifically they're looking for, which is, how do I take these insights and apply them directly into specific campaigns? Not a million campaigns, just the next 3 big campaigns. So really this has been customized based on real life application. And ChatGPT is very theoretical, but you can take a look for yourself. So let's look right here ChatGPT starts with brand context and challenges. Eventually we get to the creator strategy. The first one is sent as story, whereas based on the top post with Creatrix, it's about magical moments with Diptyque. So what we're looking at is enchantment unveiled, the art of anticipation, daily clues, sneak peeks. This just sounds absolutely delightful. So you can read this, and if you want to get the link to this document, I'm happy to share it to you. But let's just look at that. So we're looking at magic compared to ChatGPT's #1 strategy, sent as story, portals to another time, place, or feeling. Sounds interesting. Memory mapping, what's the concept of that? What's the execution? Tying memories to sent via Instagram and TikTok. Okay, I'm not even sure what that means. AI-generated visualizations and soundscapes. This is interesting because if you watched the newbies video, literally one of the things which Diptyque was like, which was failing for them hugely, was linking playlists. Like, very, very bad idea to link music to fragrance. That was flagged as a big red flag and what not to do. And ChatGPT's first idea is a soundscape. Let's bring in music. Let's not bring in music. But again, if you didn't know why this was so wrong, it could sound right. And that's what's scary about artificial intelligence. And that's why more than ever, we've got to be looking at audience intelligence. Okay, so let's look at #2 here, which is based on the most impressive style, the top performing post #2. We're looking at a whimsical wonderland reimagined. Specifically, a collaboration with Lucy Sparrow really worked. So either more with her or people like her. Transforming everyday objects into felt creations. Ooh, I love that. That's how Diptyque is able to capture the imagination and invoke a sense of nostalgia and whimsy. Specifically, vibrant colors and their intricate details add a layer of artistry and charm. So based on that, we should look at doing a fantasy felt adventure. So experimenting with different mediums and art forms to reimagine familiar objects and spaces in a magical light. Beautiful. And colorful creations. Okay, I'm loving the sound of this, and it's what the audience actually wants. It's super specific, nothing generic. Let's see what ChatGPT says. It says, Atelier des Rivieras, Workshop of Dreams. Why? And why, is that French? Why is it in a different language? Show master perfumers and artisans as they craft new scents interwoven with art and poetry. And again, music. No, we know already. Like, we already know that that's failing on Diptyque because them trying to link music to it. So I don't know why it keeps sticking with the music. Mini documentaries on YouTube, IG, and TikTok. Okay, like, why? Where is this from? No, this has nothing to do with fantasy felt adventures and working with specific influences and magic and light and reimagining familiar objects into the unfamiliar. It's just diametrically opposed. Like, these things have nothing in common. Moving on to the third. Inspiring elegance with Diptyque. So office accessory. Oh, I love this. Okay, so the focus on elegance and fantasy in Diptyque's collection of office accessories appeals to the audience's desire for sophistication and creativity in their surroundings, specifically office spaces. Fascinating. All right, so how do we bring this into campaigns? Elegant escapes. All right, imaginative energies. You can pause to read. I just want to compare. I know that ChatGPT is going to say something totally left field. So what does ChatGPT say as the third one? They say, forget about your office spaces where people are actually using these products and loving it, but go into experiential activation. Odyssey, I've got a terrible accent. I'm not going to try and say it, but olfactory odyssey. So a pop-up exhibition or retail experiences where visitors physically travel through Diptyque's most iconic scents, each room designed as an immersive multi-sensory world. Now, that is absurd. Do you know the money that would go into building that whole kind of activation when actually what Diptyque people want is candles for their office? Like, one's actually going to generate sales, one is going to waste a ton of brand money on an activation that maybe sounds fancy, but makes absolutely no sense. And this again is like, why you've got to really check where these ideas are coming from. Just because artificial intelligence can come up with a bunch of ideas, the quality of these ideas is useless. And by the way, ChatGPT keeps on going. There's just more and more and more. It's all this, it's too much. It's an overload. We need to keep it really simple, really specific. What do people want? Give them more of that and just forget about all this other stuff. If it's not backed up by data and real humans, it can really just take you in a totally wrong direction and waste a lot of money, time, and resources. Leverage the best. Leverage what people want. You get the idea. You can do this on any brand or account in the world. And the reason why AI can't give you this insight is because it doesn't have access to this data. Creatrix is software. It's not AI. It's not coming from nowhere. It's an intricate web of APIs and software and scraping and assessing. It's built with a strategist's brain. I've been in this world for 20 years working with teams. So I'm only bringing you what's most relevant. And when you customize your Creatrix model based on what you and your team want, each deliverable button, each report or playbook that you push will be trained on the way you do things. So it takes what you want, applies that to consumer insights, and generates something custom and specific. Please don't get fooled by AI. It cannot come up with creative strategy and any good ideas. It can churn a bunch of things which sound good, but are not based in any form of reality. And at the end of the day, you are selling to humans. You are not selling to bots. You are not selling to synthetic people. You are not selling to assumption. You are selling to an actual audience. So keep that in mind. If you want to take a look at this document, just email me, lauren@creatrixsas.com. Be sure to like and subscribe for more and get your hands on a Creatrix. Try this out for yourself. That's the best way to compare. Get a Creatrix trial for a week, play around, and you will start to see the insane difference between the truth and AI. Or in other words, Creatrix and ChatGPT. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you soon.